You gonna pour that in there?
Yeah.
Don't get it on the table, man. Sugar answer.
Dude, I'm balding. Big time.
When? Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They have spray paint for that.
No, I'm not doing that shit. I always thought that technology would catch up to me. And I'd be like, no worries.
Well, welcome into the Recipe Podcast, Celebrity Secrets to a Successful Life. I'm your host, Chef Charles Carroll. What are you pointing at me for?
Gourmet Club.
I know. I'm getting to that part. Let me get into it. Did I say I'm your host, Chef Charles Carroll?
Yeah.
See, Jay's got me all screwed up now. This is the.
He's right.
What? Well, I'm going to say it in a second. Just hang on. This is the Gourmet Club live portion of this show. Is that okay?
Thank you.
All right, here we go. So this is the Gourmet Club live portion of the recipe because we have several shows. And while we're on that topic, let's talk about that for a second. I need you all to go to, I know we have a lot of followers on this particular podcast, but I need you all go to the Recipe Unplugged. Okay, that's a different search. It's a different program. That's with our comedian Eric Knowles, brother of Beyonce. So make sure you go and search that out and download that show by itself because it's really it's a lot of fun and it's an opportunity for us to let our hair down and laugh a little bit. So make sure you go search that. So with that being said, we have a full studio in the house. We have Venus Five-Trap. How you doing, brother?
Good morning.
Yeah, you doing all right?
Yeah.
You're a little sluggish. I see you coming in with some vitamin C and some. What are you reading my phone?
Yeah.
That's Simi Guzman.
Yeah.
Yeah. His Simi Guzman's movie musical is out.
Oh, cool.
Well, they have the album has come out for the movie, so yeah, we're gonna get him on the show. Yeah, so you doing all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, feel like
Everybody's sick at work, man.
you're coming down with something and you're losing hair.
And I'm losing hair, man.
Is that because of stress or?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I always had like a little bit of a bald spot, but it's like, I mean, I guess I can't complain a ton, but.
Well, they got some spray paint, so you can put it on there, and then people don't think it's it's kind of.
No.
No?
I always figured like 20 years ago, I always thought if I ever start to bald, by then they're going to have something that you could just walk in an hour later,
Right.
you're like, your hair's back.
It still may be here.
Where is it?
Well, it probably come the same time that we get all the cars that drive by themselves.
No.
I'm thinking.
That's already happening. Tom Brady was bald. Tom Brady was balding, and he has a full head of hair now.
Yeah.
There's hair implants.
I think it has something to do with his girlfriend.
Yeah, but they don't look like implants. His hair looks.
She makes a lot of
his
things
hair
go
looks
straight.
great. Yeah.
And we got the Bobbin in the house. How you doing, Bobbin?
Hi.
You doing all right?
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Haven't been here in forever.
I know, and you like quit and everything, and so now you're no longer working with us, huh? You're starting the new gig on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you excited?
Very excited.
Yeah. Family's good. Yeah. Good to see you back, Monica. Good to see you.
Thanks.
You doing all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got Jay. Jay's seems to be calm, cool, and collective, and everything good in your world, Jay?
Oh, yeah.
Family's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You get a lot of presents to buy for the holidays, don't you, Bub? Huh?
I do.
You go 0 to 100 with the Christmas time, right?
Why? What happened?
Every day's Christmas.
Well, he's moved in with a family now.
No way.
He's a family man.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah. So, are you getting a tree?
We already have one.
No, you don't.
We didn't put it up yet, but we have one.
What, the fake ones?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that's a whole nother show. All right. We're going to get into that next episode. And we're so happy to have in-house Chef Steven from the La Table.
yeah.
La Table. And from down the street, right around the corner, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. I've been to your restaurant several times. And Christian, you been there?
Yeah, I was just there a few weeks ago for a luncheon with Cheval Blanc.
Nice.
That was a nice meal. I took pictures of the food.
All right, pop in the kitchen sometime.
Yeah, I will next time. I will.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
See if I can find those pictures. They're nice.
Really a great restaurant, and you started there in 2017. Is that right?
Yeah, we you mentioned the Escoffier dinner, so
Yeah.
that was in November. So I started there in July 2017, and my wife and we did 6 months in Houston, then we went back to New York.
Oh, that's cool. So, Jay, I don't know. Do you need to turn that mic up, or is it me, or
wow.
is it the headset, or what is it?
Which one is he?
He's number
4.
4. So the restaurant brought you to Houston. Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's a long story, but yeah.
So you have a great story, and you're a young guy. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit before we get started? Tell the audience a little bit about you.
Yeah, so pretty much I went to college in Utah, started the culinary program there, which was cool, but the program ended up getting shut down. So
You said started. You went to school there.
yeah,
Did you work there too, or just no? You went to.
I worked there as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What school?
Utah State University.
Okay.
So started the culinary program there. They kind of decided to shut the program down. So I just finished a 4-year degree in business, and I was like, I'm gonna move to New York as soon as this is over. So
Now, how old were you at that point?
I was about 20 years old.
So, and you started the program.
Yeah, I mean, I started college at 18, but when I decided like I was gonna be a chef, and the culinary program had absolved at that point.
Okay.
I was about 20.
But you were working. You were running the program.
I was working in a restaurant.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
gotcha.
yeah, I was working in a restaurant in Utah.
Okay.
Seeing like, hey, do I want to do this?
Yeah, gotcha.
Washing dishes.
Yeah. So you graduated from there with a degree and went straight to New York.
Yeah, day after I graduated, I moved to New York. I started trailing at restaurants, staging, all different restaurants.
When was
Yeah.
that? How long ago was that?
That was 2006.
Okay.
So a week at a time, 2 weeks, a month at a time, a year.
Yeah, the first stage was 2 weeks. It was a Tocqueville restaurant. I did 2 weeks there, and then I started school in New York, and then I was just doing trails once a week, different restaurants, one day at a time.
So what school?
That was Institute of Culinary Education,
Ah.
ICE. It used to be called Peter Kump's Culinary School.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, all right, and tell us about the stage. Can you just go out and knock on the door, or do you have to call ahead, or do you have to have a friend, or how's that work?
Yeah, so I mean, in 2006, it was you're just knocking on doors. I would call ahead sometimes and ask for the kitchen. If you got the kitchen, the chef would pick up, or someone would pick up, and you'd wait, and then they say, yeah, come in anytime. There wasn't any rules or paperwork you had to fill out, and then so yeah, it was pretty pretty simple at that point.
All right. So what was your favorite during your staging time? What was your favorite?
Like which restaurant?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, Tocqueville was really cool because I was going from Utah to New York, so to get to see all those techniques and how a real kitchen was run was like mind blowing. Which that momentum pretty much kept me in New York for 13 years.
Wow.
Just realizing the difference, and because you don't really know what people do in kitchens. You watch Food Network, you think you look at books, but until you're in a kitchen in New York and you see how they operate, then you really realize.
Christian, you were there during that time, were you?
I left in 03, but
Okay.
but I saw on your thing you worked at Le Bernardin, and the guy who used to be the sous there, Daniel Orr, I worked with him in Anguilla. I was the wine director at a place called Cap Joluca. He was the chef at Cuisinart, which was next door. But I worked with him at Guastavino before I went. Was Guastavino still there when you got there?
I don't think so. I've heard Daniel Orr before. I feel like
Yeah, he's a big deal because he made his own spices and I mean, he was a badass chef, and he ended up in Anguilla just coincidentally. We worked together at Guastavino. I went to Anguilla, and he showed up like a year later and was the chef at Cuisinart. So
Okay.
like 03 to 07.
okay.
But I
nice.
worked in New York my whole career before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's then
Why'd you go to Anguilla? What brought that up?
Because I wanted to get the hell out of New York. It was like shortly after the 9/11. 9/11 and whatnot. So,
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so I started looking like kind of right after 9/11.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York. I wanted out of there.
Were you in New York at 9/11?
No, I wasn't. I was in high school at that time.
Okay.
But I heard a lot of stories,
Yeah,
and
shit,
it
man.
changed the game for a lot of chefs and
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Sure. Yeah. That rattled the whole world. So Eric Repair, did you get a chance to work with him, or was he around?
So yeah, pretty much, I was staging at Le Bernardin on Saturdays, and then I asked for an official internship, and he was there. I met him the first time I staged. He kind of surprised me. I was drinking coffee, like in the back corner, and he grabbed my shoulder. I turned around, it was him.
Yeah.
I almost spilled my coffee, but yeah, no, he was always there. Just he was just walking around, checking on things, and nice guy.
Yeah, he is, huh?
Yeah, really nice guy.
Yeah. I met him twice, but just he had a place in Florida years ago. I want to say it was in the 90s called the Brasserie. Did you know about that? And,
No.
And so he just opened that, and I met him then. And he was a pretty big deal, but not as big deal as he is now, and then I met him again at Le Bernardin. But that was it. But the food is pretty amazing. But simple, clean, and amazing, right?
Yeah, really simple. I mean, I didn't end up working there for very long afterwards, but I mean, the food has been constantly, simple, clean, stays with the times, and you only hear great things about it.
Now, so you had a paid position there for a while.
At Le Bernardin?
Yeah.
No, I just did my internship there.
Oh, your internship.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long was that?
That was 3 months.
Yeah. Okay. So give us a timeline then. So you interned 3 months there, and then after Le Bernardin was what?
So after Le Bernardin, I opened a restaurant called Irving Mill.
You opened one.
Yeah.
So you got a partner to do that, or how did that work?
No, I mean, I pretty much on Craigslist, what restaurants are opening. Okay, the chef from Gramercy Tavern was opening a new restaurant called Irving Mill. It was pretty, well-known opening. A lot of people were excited about it. And so I applied there hoping I would get a job, hoping it was going to be the next Gramercy Tavern, hoping it was going to be the next really popular restaurant in New York. And, just applied as a cook.
And Gramercy Tavern, that's, what's the name of that chef? I can see his name. I can see his face.
Right now it's Michael Anthony.
Oh, no, that's not who I'm thinking about. The balding guy, I had an ex-girlfriend that was a pastry chef there.
They've had a few, like Claudia Fleming and things like that, so.
I can't think of his name. Can you even think of the...
They've had a bunch of chefs. They had one guy for a long time there, but really that's more the concept. Gramercy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wasn't the owner of didn't the guy, the chef that I thought that was a chef owned.
No, it was the guy, Drew Neaport, who kind of was over all the Tribeca restaurants, like a few Tribeca.
I think you're thinking about Danny Meyer.
No, I know
Okay.
Danny Meyer. I don't know him, but I know Danny Meyer, and that's not a thing. Anyway, so you got the job.
Yeah, I got the job.
As a cook.
Yep, as a cook.
And how long were you there?
I was there for 1 year.
Yeah. And good experience?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. Like, the chef was great. We were really busy. And just all the opening things, the New York Times review, all these things that happened, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, you can't buy that experience opening a place, right? I mean, that's like doing a renovation. It's one of those things. If you can open a property, it's like doing a renovation. It's one of those tick box on your resume that's a great experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And anytime you open a place, you're hoping that again, it's popular, it's busy, it catches on, and that
Yeah.
Where was that restaurant?
That was in pretty much. It was on Irving Plaza, so 16th Street, right near Union Square, Farmers Market, Union Square Park.
And so you went from there to when? To where?
So I went from there. After a year, I went to La Grenouille, which is a French restaurant on 52nd Street.
How long were you there?
2 years.
2 years. So you like that?
Yeah. Yep.
What made you stay there longer than the other place?
Well, I mean, I would have stayed at Irving Mill longer as well, just the way that things were going. The chef ended up, leaving for another opportunity, so it was kind of like a natural progression at that point, and some of the connections there got me the job at La Grenouille, so it kind of worked out. Everybody kind of knows everybody.
Sure.
So it was a natural progression there, and it was, to learn pretty much. A move from, Union Square to Midtown is kind of a step up. The restaurants are a little bit more,
And it's been there forever, La Grenouille.
Yeah, it's been there a long time. It wasn't easy to get a job there.
Yeah.
I had to wait a little bit. Hey, is there any positions? And it was, it was cool for me.
And you moved in there as a line cook as well, or?
Yeah, as a line cook.
Yeah. And so what year are we at now?
This is 2008, I believe.
2008. Yeah. So then what?
No, so, I told the chef, I was like, look, I want to cook meat. Like, let me cook. Like, being a meat cook in New York is like, I feel like, it's like I felt like it was being an executive chef, it was like the hardest thing ever. That was like my goal. I want to be a meat cook. So I told the chef, I was like, look, I want to work here. I want to work meat. He's like, yeah, for sure. And, like 9 months, 10 months, 11 months later, I was like, still like, I didn't ask or anything, but I was like, when am I going to cook meat, So I think I gave notice. After like 12 months, after a year, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to move on and start to learn. In my head, I was just thinking, oh, look, I want to cook meat. So I'm going to go find a job where I can do that. And then, a couple of days later, he came back and he's like, "Hey, look, we want you to stay. You're gonna start butchering, doing this, doing that." So I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it." So at that point, sign on for another year. It's like a verbal agreement.
Sure.
And yeah, so then I pretty much just worked meat station for a year and butchered.
What was during this time? Those 3 restaurants from Le Bernardin up to this point in 2008. What was your biggest learning curve? What was the biggest biggest aha moment during that time?
I think just realizing that I was going to be in New York longer than just a year, just to kind of that misconception that you can go to New York, work a year or 2, and then leave.
What's a cook getting paid in 2008?
$10, $11, $12.
Yeah.
Depending.
Yeah. And how many people were staging in those restaurants when you were there?
A lot. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
It was really part of the process back then.
Yeah. I assume it's still going on, right? The stages have to be, or no?
It is. I think you have to sign paperwork.
It's more formal.
Yeah. I went. I was at a resort for 13 years and 7 years as an executive chef, and we had 2 off seasons, and in the spring and late fall, and we had anywhere from 13 to 20 apprentices, and it was my job. I was a chef at the resort, but I would send them out to all these chefs that I would die to work for, right? So we sent a lot to New York and everything, and then I would go during that downtime and I would dine at as many places as I could, right? I remember going into Charlie Palmer's restaurant and became friends with Charlie and sent quite a few chefs there. But I would walk in that kitchen and there's like 4 or 5 kids working around the corner in the back on top of garbage cans tipped upside down with a cutting board on top.
Yeah.
He has 5 or 6 people working for free, on top of garbage cans.
Yeah.
But those are crazy times. So, all right. So after the 2 years there, where to?
So then I applied at Per Se in Lincoln. So Lincoln was a restaurant that everybody knew was opening in 2010. The chef was Jonathan Benno. And
that was at Columbus Circle?
Yeah, Columbus Circle. I don't know how I heard about it, but people talk, and like I said, cooks from different restaurants, and everybody was talking about, hey, this place Lincoln's going to open up. There was definitely some articles on Grub Street or New York Magazine.
What space did that go into? Where Gray Bar was?
Lincoln? No, it was a new construction.
Okay.
It was part of a revamp of the
Is
whole
that
Lincoln
Italian?
Center.
Is that what the?
Yeah.
Don't we have a picture of? Do we have Lincoln up there or no? I can't remember. Might have been Liber. Yeah, there it is, right there. Is that Italian influences, or no?
Yeah, it's Italian.
Yeah.
It's Italian restaurant.
Yeah. And how long were you there?
I was there for just under 6 years.
Wow.
I did two tours there. So
2 tours.
Yeah.
And what defines that?
No, so I worked there for 4.5 years with Chef Benno.
Okay.
Then after Houston, I ended up working there again for another year.
Okay. And what were your positions there?
I started as a line cook, and then I got promoted to sous chef, and then I left, and I came back, and I was hired as a chef de cuisine.
Okay, so you went to Houston. You said you in between down. So what did you do down here?
No, so when I came in 2017 to work at La Table,
Okay, so that was just for 1 year.
that was for 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And why was that?
So we were working on a restaurant in New York. Chef Benno and his team were working on a restaurant in New York, and I was planning on working there. And so they asked me to come to Houston to check out the restaurant and the company and see how,
Okay.
So was the money from down here?
What's that?
Was the money from down here then? For the opening in New York? Was that the association?
Yeah, they were, the managing partners and stuff like that.
Okay.
They were, some of the partners were involved in New York.
Huh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So they purchased Le Table.
La Table's always been in the company,
Oh, okay.
and they were thinking about opening in New York. And
Oh, okay.
some of the managing partners were planning a restaurant in New York, and I was signed on. I was excited and signed on to work at that restaurant in New York. and they said, hey, would you like to come to Houston and see our restaurant in Houston? I looked at my wife. She was excited, so we came to Houston.
Yeah. So you were, your lovely wife is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're excited to get out of New York for a bit?
Yeah, for a bit.
Yeah, good for you on that. Yeah, the weather's the winters are better down here, right?
Yeah, I like the winter. I like the warm weather.
Yeah, girl. So 6 months you were here,
Yeah, 6 months.
and then went back again.
Then went back to New York.
And so what happened during that whole that brought you back?
So I think I was in New York for another year, and we bought a house, and we were ready to settle down and everything like that. And we just, I don't know, as the year went by, Houston was in the back of our mind,
Oh, so you you were the one that kind of pushed for it?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, We were living in a nice area in Montclair, New Jersey, and we were super happy, but Houston was in the back of our mind. Like, it's just a different place.
That's where Tony Soprano lives.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
If you watch The Sopranos, I mean, yeah, if you're from New Jersey,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what town you lived in, but
That's a real.
Yeah, no, they're in Montclair.
So that's a real bitch, though. You have to take a train in, right, to work, or
yeah,
what?
we took a train. Some days we drove. It was every day was
That's
different.
a nice area. It's a nice area.
It's what's that? A 50-minute train ride? And,
It's about 35 minutes.
yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it works then.
Yeah.
So,
What made you think about coming back to Houston?
No, we just liked it. We just liked the lifestyle here and
Yeah.
the weather, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But Houston, we didn't know about Houston. That's the thing. We had no idea, and
Yeah.
then we just showed up,
yeah.
and we
Yeah.
were like, okay, this is cool. People don't talk about Texas a lot in New York.
That's right.
It's not part of the daily.
The first time I came here was in '07 for the interview, and I was like, my mind was blown because it wasn't quite that. I didn't think I was going to show up and people would be on horseback, but I was like, this is going to be, and in a way it was.
Yeah.
I shit you not. Like in '07, I looked around, and I was like, every single restaurant in this place that people go to is a steakhouse,
Yeah. No.
and there's like 2 or 3 other concepts out here that have been forever in their institutions. It's like people are very loyal to where they go eat, even if the food starts to suck. You overhear, like I'll overhear people and they'll be like, "I can't believe the Palm is closing down on Westheimer," and I was like, "What? There's still a Palm," you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is like, who goes to eat at those places? Then when you meet the people that go to eat those places, you're like, oh, okay, these people go out to eat every night. That's how those places stay open.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna have we're gonna start like really seeing some places start to shut down. Like a lot of that's gonna cut. It's just too much right now. There's too many places.
Yeah,
to
it
eat.
certainly has blown up from. I'm trying to think when that trigger would have been.
Probably 09, 10, around that.
Yeah, blowing up then until around, probably or to around now, 15, 16, maybe 7, even to 17, because some of the icons are shutting down, right?
It's been 5-10 years. La Table, that spot was actually Philippe.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that, and that guy, he's a well-respected chef, and he has a big following.
Crazy guy though.
But they couldn't make it work.
Have you ever
because
met
all the
Philippe?
construction.
I met him at an event.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's a couple Chef Philippe's in Houston. So,
Yeah.
That's right.
but definitely.
Yeah. Well, there are some. Did I read or see that we had Charles Clark in here a while back?
Check this out. This is from that lunch. It's like a salmon tartare.
Yeah.
Badass. Look.
Oh, cool. Whoa. Looks
Good
like our
pictures,
media
right?
photos. Yeah.
This thing takes good pictures.
really good.
Look at that.
Yeah, that shit's
The
on my
Bronzino.
That's
Yeah.
on my menu already.
That's what my dad
That's how
had.
quick I work.
Those are good pictures. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the new menu.
I'll send 'em
Very
to you.
cool.
I'll send
Nice.
'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does look really nice. Why didn't you tell me you had those? We would have put them up on the screen.
I can't tell you everything
Oh
I do.
man, shit. Yeah, good. So yeah, they're. I think you're right, Christian. I mean, there were so many restaurants opening all the time,
Yeah.
right? And what are some of the ones that are closing down? Isn't
Well,
Char-
you've seen some ones that shouldn't close down that close down, like Passing Provisions. That
Yeah.
was a great
I
restaurant.
heard about that.
Yeah.
Super restaurant. I hated to see that place shut down.
Those boys were getting tired, though. I think.
Maybe, but you'd like to see them go and do something else because they were that talented. But
Yeah.
like once you see places that like Houston folks have supported for so long start to shut down, then you start to say, okay, there's more opportunity, and it's going to be survival of the fittest, which happens in New York constantly. That's perpetual. You won't make it if you don't stay relevant there. But here, you could be irrelevant for as long as you want, as long as you have a good following.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think Houston's getting like New York. It's just so many restaurants opening.
Mhm.
It's,
That's right.
There's so many
hard to
great
keep track.
restaurants. Yeah, and my wife and I love going out all the time, and I feel bad that we have several friends that have restaurants, and I feel guilty that that I don't frequent them more because they're good people and they have great food, but I just want to check out something else.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it would scare me to death to open up a place in Houston right now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You remember that place, A Key? That
No.
closed down too. That was killer. That was and that was all over a scandal because that guy Paul Quee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard of
So
it.
he wasn't actually the chef there. There was a chef de cuisine that was a Filipino guy, that was just out of control good, and the food was lights out, and it lasted a year because nobody went because of that. Social media.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
food was great.
And then I read that right next door to you, I think, I don't know if I read it or I saw on the internet, I think we were looking, Robert Del Grande, our buddy of ours, friend of the show, did he sell to Butcher Block? What's that place called?
B&B came in and basically like funded them because they were in rough shape. But and I mean I'm not speaking out of turn, but the fact is the construction that was there was really killing them.
Oh, they did that
So they
years ago?
They rebranded back to Cafe Annie.
Right.
Right. It was RDG. Rebranded back to Cafe Annie, and then B&B, which is they were killing it at B&B Butchers. This guy's trying to build a restaurant group. Went and pumped money in, and now they're partnered up with Del Grande. So I don't know what their partnership.
Yeah.
But
we need to get him on the show.
Yeah. They
But-
did a revamp. How are they doing over there?
You know, I honestly don't keep track, but I know we share a lot of the same employees and a lot of the same guests. You know,
Yeah.
I hear they're doing really well. So
Is that recent, Christian? 'Cause
Super recent.
Yeah, because I think it's just recent that I saw it on the homepage, on his homepage, but I don't know how recent that they made that change. So,
And now it's just called Annie or something like that.
maybe
Yeah.
Bar Annie.
Bar Annie or something
yeah,
like that.
so I'm wondering, did they buy him out? And he has probably a 1-year agreement to stay on or whatever. We got to call him up.
I don't know, dude. That's,
Make a note, Monica. We need to bring him back in here and check that out. Yeah, but Robert's a good guy. Do you know Robert? Have you met him?
I've met him. Yeah,
Yeah, super
nice guy. Yeah, really nice guy.
Brilliant chef and a smart guy. I mean, he was one of the trailblazers back in the day that put fine dining on the map here in Houston. So
how's La Table doing?
Yeah, right now we're doing great. I mean, it's busy season, so and especially what we were talking about before, the parties.
yeah,
A lot of
Here's what I
parties.
like about it, and this is important because when I got to Houston, I was like, "Where do you go for fine dining? Like, show me where's the place you go for fine dining? Let's go to DeMarco." I was like, "That's good, but that's not fine dining." Let's go to Tony's. That's good. That definitely could be considered fine dining. Team service, beautiful tablecloth, beautiful flatware, all that kind of stuff. Plates, beautiful. And I was like, okay, but that was it. And BCN, to a certain extent, is also now, but that's recent. So it was like there weren't enough options. Whereas people would tell me, because we're around a lot of folks who have been in Houston for a long, long time, who have a lot of money, who go out to eat a lot. We used to have a lot of options for fine dining. So I really appreciate the fact that La Table is like true, like 100% dedicated to fine dining up in that dining room upstairs, because you need to have that option. It's like where do you go? When you bring Cheval Blanc into town, and the guy who's putting it together from Republic, so where are we going to do it? And we did it there. It made perfect sense. We had this corner table. The service was impeccable. They bring the trays. All the plates look like a work of art. Like we need more of that in Houston. So it's like when you balance out, there's enough barbecue places. There's more than enough steakhouses. So it baffles me when people are like, "Oh, there's another steakhouse that's going to open that's coming from another city." It's like, well, did those people do their research? It's like, shouldn't you open something that's a need there? We already have every steakhouse you could think of. Del Frisco's barely can get people in, and it's Del Frisco's because there's so much competition. You guys have a niche, and you need to push that part even harder, because I don't think enough people know the level of service you're getting there, the level of food you're getting there, and you get what you pay for it, 100%. It's actually probably, I would say, one of the best values, because you get that same meal in France. You're paying 60 euros for the appetizer. You're paying 200 euros per head before drink for lunch. And here, you can get away with having lunch there for 2 people for $100 before drinking. That's like, consider yourself very lucky. I don't think enough people understand that about Houston.
No, I think you just nailed it. I think that's the part. I mean, like I heard about Passing Provisions, but there's not that many fine dining restaurants that
Yeah.
stand out in my mind in terms of like tablecloths and the type of service. BCN obviously. amazing.
I gotta say, the service is amazing. I mean, the service was incredible. I mean, we've been there a few times, and upstairs and then downstairs on the right next to the bar there. And I forgot what the example was. It was a year ago. I think it might have been my birthday. We were there, but the service was spot on. I mean, it was professional. You know, it was really dialed in. Monica, scroll down there. I think there's a couple other pictures of food there. I think there's one right there on the salt block. It's a salt block, right, Chef? Tableside?
Yeah, that's actually the tomahawk, the Wagyu tomahawk with the long bone there. And yeah, we do a couple preparations tableside. So we do the heritage chicken, and right now we're doing a 32-ounce prime cowboy steak in the same fashion that you see there.
So you pour a little brandy sauce on there and flame it, and is that what it is, or something of that nature?
Yeah, it's marinated in cognac, and then we just send out some hot cognac to crisp it up in the dining room.
Who's doing the wine there now? I know it was Xavier for a while, right?
Yeah, so we have a new wine director starting this week. I don't know too much about him yet, but he's a Houston he's a well-known name in Houston.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let the company kind of present him
Release
because
it.
I haven't done my homework, but
Sure.
We're really excited to have
Good.
him, and he's supposed to be really, really good.
Yeah, we have a lot of good sound talent here in Houston, for sure.
And they're well connected, I gotta say. You know, they get a nice little group. You pull together on a lot of events. I know you do for the Scaffier traditionally, and the Shen, I think too, right?
Shen's been up there, yeah. Oh yeah, I did a Shen event there like 2 years ago.
And we've done a few events at the club where you brought all your cronies in. I mean, they're a tight knit group.
Oh, you mean the Psalms?
Yeah.
The wine community here is like, just the wine service community is like tight. I mean, there's not a lot of BS. Everybody kind of takes care of each other. There's job opportunity. Somebody's lost their job or needs to move on, they'll find a spot again. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity. We don't have a lack of talent when it comes to that. I mean, we might have a lack of experience in some ways. There's like just a few of us that have been doing it for like 15 plus years or 20 plus years, but even the ones that have only been doing it for a short amount of time, they're quick studies. Whereas I think there's a complete not lack of talent. There's just not enough talent on the service side. That's for sure. So when you guys get like great people to serve, just like BCN has a fantastic staff, and Tony's does as well. When any of those people move, people pounce on them because getting good servers who will stay long term, meaning professional servers, that's almost like a novelty in the U.S. for me. I mean, New York, it's always been there. I remember at Lutèce and restaurants like that had been around forever. There were Frenchmen. They would close for a month because those Frenchmen like, we're going back to France, and they'd leave with a duffel bag full of cash from the money they made throughout the year. And those guys got to retire young. They were professional waiters. And here in Houston, you only saw that in the steakhouses, which you always see. It's like the older captain guy with the jacket pushing the Garrett on. But that's passe. That's done. You saw Luger's review. That's over. I remember being a Peter Luger steakhouse 15 years ago. No, 25 years ago with like friends, and we went out for it, and the guys just push you around. They tell you what you're going to eat, and then the food's just okay. They were treating people like shit 20 years ago. It's about time somebody gave them a bad review. Because nobody wants to eat nobody wants to go eat and get pushed around and then be like, hey, now you owe me $500 for this, table for two.
Yeah, one steak on a plate.
Yeah, and people love that. Here in
Asparagus
Houston,
for $12.
Here in Houston, I find that people they love that shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, oh, that's and then he told me I had to have this. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But where's the wine community? I mean, where are they work? I mean, if there's not that many fine dining restaurants, are they just working at, are they opening up their own places?
Usually like multi-unit. Like, for example, we have David Keck and June Rodil, who are both MSs. They're Good Night Hospitality Group. Then you have Antonio Gianola, who's fantastic. He used to work with Chris Shepard for years. He's now the general manager at Houston Wine Merchant, so he runs the best wine store. Then you have Sean Beck, who's been almost 20 years now with the Hugo's Group.
Yeah, he's got 5 or 6 restaurants.
So that's H-Town Hospitality Group. So most of them are over. Yeah, they're over restaurant groups. That's a big deal here now. It's almost like monopoly because they're taking over spaces or whatever, and it's straight up like monopoly, restaurant monopoly. And then you have everybody else, for the most part, once they hit a wall at a smaller restaurant, they go into distribution, which sucks because in New York you'll always have at least 5 other opportunities out there because there are so many openings.
Yeah.
Here we're getting to that point, and those people are, but a lot of those people are bringing their wine folks with them, which just means there's more people come from the outside, more competition, but also raises the level, 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you, let me think now. Going back to how many years you've been here? going on 3.
I mean,
17, right?
yeah, 2017.
Yeah. So that you're gonna put an anchor down, hang out for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
Yeah, good for you. Well, we're happy to have you here. So, what during your career, what do you think was the biggest influence on you? Who was, other than family members, who was the biggest influence on you?
Yeah, this is a tough question. I mean, there's just been too many. You know, I don't want to say one person because there's been at least 5 or 10 people that have been equally important. So if you want, I can rail off a list. Of names,
I mean, tell us. I mean.
Yeah, so at Lincoln, you know, there was there's a guy named Chung Chow. He's a chef. He has his own place called Narita. He was a huge influence on me. You know, Jonathan Beno, Richard Capizzi, who's the pastry chef at Lincoln.
So tell me, give us some examples. Like, you know, I can think of some people in my life that were a big influence on me as far as being a leader, and another person that was a big inspiration on me on media or trying to push myself out as being an entrepreneur. So give it, you know what I mean? Do you have some specific something like that?
Yeah, so pretty much with Chef Beno, his whole thing was, you know, pretty much instilling confidence in people and teaching them how to do things the right way. So a lot of cooks, 20 years old, you know, they want to cook, they want to showcase what they can do, but, you know, without confidence, you know, really owning, you know, what you're doing.
Yeah.
Pretty much I mean, you can't really be a chef. So whether you're 18 or you're 39, you know, you're going to get blasted with confidence or, you know, if you're doing something wrong, you're going to be told to, you know, this is on you.
Yeah.
You know, you need to figure this out.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was pretty much Jonathan's thing, is teaching people to have confidence and being able to, hey, you don't need anybody else, just take care of business. So that was his thing. You know, with Shea Galante, you know, pretty much I worked with him for a year or so.
So did you have was there a miserable, because, you know, all of us know of, you know, back in the day there were some miserable times in kitchens, right? Screamers. Did you experience any of that? Any screaming? Any kind of crazy shit in the kitchens that were like the wheel was coming off?
Yeah, usually that was when I was in charge. No. No.
Yeah, I see that in you. Don't you see that, Christian?
I
There's
seem
a-
calm, but these are the types that'll blow up on you.
No, I mean, it's like as soon as you take a management position, at that point your temper's in check, you know, the entire time, because you never know the kind of person you are until you have to deal with, you know, you have to manage 20 or 30 people. So I don't think anybody really knows what they're capable of. But the goal is to not scream. You know, that's the.
Yeah.
But did you see any of it? I mean, back in the day, did you see any of any people throwing pots and shit like that? Or
No, I've never seen anybody throwing pots, and I worked with like the most really well. I don't know how to explain it, but just chefs that just had their ego and their tempers in check. You know, which is crazy to think about. But
Pros, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you would think that they were going to scream, and then they would do something completely opposite that would blow your mind and make you realize, whoa, like,
This is why they are.
I can't believe that just happened. I thought like the entire restaurant was going to shut down when that person did this one thing. But, you know, that's kind of how you get good. You know, you watch people react in situations of stress. And then
what's the craziest thing you've seen?
craziest thing I've seen in a restaurant? I mean, oh my God, that's a tough question. I wish I could, you know, I don't know. I can't really think of anything too crazy right now.
Did I ever tell the story when I was up in Rochester? We were setting up for an outdoor wedding, and there was a huge tent. Did I tell this story before? And this tent was right next to the kitchen, and it held about 200 people. And they've been working on the decorations of this tent for a week, chandeliers and streamers. And so when you walked into that tent, you didn't know you were in a tent. You thought you were in a ballroom in New York or something. It was that freaking gorgeous, right? So when I was getting ready to go to an Olympic session on a Saturday morning, I had my cooler packed, and I had to catch a flight, and I'm getting ready to go out the door, and I said, Chef, you got to come out. I said, I can't. Then go get the Sue or whatever. I said, no, Chef, you got to come. So I said, all right. So I ran up there because I didn't want to miss my flight. I ran up there, and I went into the tent, and the sprinkler system went off. It wiped out that whole tent. The streamers, the chandeliers, the tables were tipped upside down, and the wedding was in like 5 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a mess. So I mean, there's kind of some crazy shit like there, but.
No, I mean, I've seen things. I've seen smoke alarms and fire alarms, and things like that. Power outages, hurricanes. But
Nobody punching them anybody else out or anything like that.
I wish I could say it.
Well,
did,
Christian
but-
throws shit around. I mean, to
Yeah,
this
Christian,
day.
you
still.
probably have some stories on
Yeah.
that.
In offices, and I don't do it in public.
Yeah.
I don't do it in public.
Really? You keep it in check? Yeah. All right.
That's like last week. Any aspirations to like open your own place down there? Is that the ultimate goal, or
It's
Yeah.
it's the ultimate goal. It's been the ultimate goal for many years, and it remains the ultimate goal.
and
So,
what would it be if you had to say? I mean, food wise, like what are you looking at? Size wise, all that stuff.
Food wise, size wise, I would definitely do American food. So, that's a umbrella term, but I've worked in French restaurants, Italian restaurants. I definitely cook by, everything's cooked by hand. Charcuterie, pastas, making things by hand. So I'm not going to go do a straight Italian or French restaurant. It's definitely going to be showcasing American ingredients and things like that down the road. And things I like to eat.
Well, the show is the recipe Celebrity Secrets. Of course, this is the Gourmet Club Live, but we have a lot of young people listening to this show as well. What is some advice you give to some of the young culinarians out there?
Yeah, this is a great question. So every time I see a young person that applies at La Table or any restaurant that I work at, first thing we do, we sit down and, I really do try to map out what their next year is going to look like. And then I ask them point blank, what's after that? Because, if you don't, in this career, if you don't map it out early on in the game, you're just going to be changing job after job after job after job, thinking that your goals, I want to make more money, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. But when you achieve those things, you realize, oh my God, that's not what I wanted. So, with that end, and I also try to get people to move to New York. I try to get people to move to LA, or just go find the best chef you can find and just go there and work with that person, which is, I think, important.
Yeah, sure. Well, one last question. You're at home and your cooler is full of everything that you can dream of. What are you cooking?
That's hit me with these really good questions. Wow. So probably pork spare ribs.
Cool.
Definitely.
Cool. Christian, what kind of wine you putting with that?
I don't know. Nowadays, I'm still on Burgundy. I do Burgundy.
Yeah. Well, Chef, man, we're sure proud to have you in Houston, and we thank you for coming into the show, and we look forward to going back down there, man. My wife and I have been there several times and enjoy the meal. And again, the service is amazing. The food is always good, but it's really cool when you get servers that are professional and really care about what they're doing. So that's a huge plus for you guys. But thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, and we'll have you in again too.
Please.
And, yeah, we'll look forward to it, and appreciate you sharing with us and inspiring our chefs from. We're proud to say we have listeners from all over the world because of the World Chefs thing, but so we always like to try to inspire some people on the way. So thanks for coming in, and anybody listening out there, I appreciate you trusting us with the show. Jay, I forgot to do the sponsors earlier, if you can help me with that. We have the Texas Beef Council and the Escoffier School of Culinary Arts. Texas Beef Council, we love them because they love chefs and they help and support chefs from all over, so that's super cool. And if you don't like beef, there's something wrong with you. Escoffier School of Culinary Arts, they are very, very good to us, and they have an online program that you can, if you're working somewhere, it doesn't make any difference where you are in the country, you can go on and get yourself a great education through the Escoffier School of Culinary Arts. So thank you for trusting us with this show. So go ahead and rave, rank, and review this show and subscribe. And remember, we have the Recipe Unplugged. That's a separate download. Go to that one and download the Recipe Unplugged. That's with our comedian Eric Knowles. He's a fantastic guy, and so download that show and also share this show as well. So remember, you're special, you're great. Get off your ass and do something today. See you next time.